never seen that
No,
video before, and I was just like, how cool is that? I've never seen that before.
that was
A little
amazing.
surprise from
Yes,
the Barnes and Noble team for sure.
that was so cool and so aesthetically pleasing. Oh my God. I'm so
Right?
excited.
It's so good to see you because I really haven't seen you in forever.
It's so good to see you too. Yes, I think the last time we jumped on Zoom together was when you were still working on this book.
I know, which is really wild. For you guys who don't know, in our chat, Alysha and I have known each other for a really long time now. I was a librarian when I met her, and this is so random. So at my library, the children's manager, she was also an author, and she became a published author and left the library to be a full-time author. And then I did later, which is really weird. Like two librarians at one library. That has to be like a weird statistic.
Yeah.
Anyways, we would meet at the coffee shop for
Yeah.
critique group. And now we both have published books, which is so cool. So
I know. It was the dream. That's what we were dreaming of when we
yeah,
met at the cafe. Yeah.
yeah,
It's crazy.
super fun,
Well, hello
super cool.
everyone. Welcome to Scarlett St. Clair's uh birthday or book birthday eve event.
It could be my birthday too. It feels like a birthday.
It does. It does. I'm so glad you all are joining us to celebrate Terror at of the Gates tonight. I just have two quick announcements for everybody. Um, just so everyone knows, your signed book is going to be mailed after the event, and you can expect your book to come in 8 to 10 business days. And if you've been checking your email, you should have received a link for email confirmation for all that special swag that Scarlett is giving out. Oh,
Yes.
so good.
Which is coming set will probably come separate from the book. So in case there's confusion, my team is sending the swag out. And so it will not come with the book. It will be separate. And if you don't fill out the Google form, you got to fill out the Google form.
That's the only way to get it. You got to fill out another form.
Yeah, sadly, but
Yeah.
it's also really cool. I'm really glad I got to do that because I had like 100 of these pins left, or I think I had actually less because I think we ran out at 80. And I was like, I want to do something really cool. And so Barnes and Noble was so gracious to let me provide like a cool gift. So yeah, thank you guys for that.
Yes, I'm so excited that you were able to share that with people.
Me
Okay,
too.
so before we get like into everything, I'll go ahead and introduce us real quick.
Oh yeah,
Those of you who
I
don't
just
know who I
assumed
am,
everyone knew us.
I am Alysha Rameera. I am, oh my gosh, I'm a debut author. My
Show
book
your
comes out
book. Yeah.
next month. And Scarlett has heard all about this since it was an idea back in 2020. And she was
Yes.
like one of my encouragers of just put everything you love in it, put all the romance and all the yearning and whatever scenes you want in it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I really have so much to like thank you for being my
No,
encourager, my
same.
speak partner, and then helping me on this like year of debut. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you. It's so cool to see it from like, well, first of all, Alicia went from writing middle grade to
Yeah.
to this. So it's so cool to see that transition, but also just to have watched her write the book and then it has like a gorgeous cover, beautiful art. I just think it's one of the coolest processes. My favorite, that's my favorite process, part actually of writing a book is from like the first word to like the final product. It's the coolest thing.
Yes.
I'm so grateful I got to watch you go through it too.
Oh, thank you. Okay, and let's introduce the star of the night. Number one, New York Times best-selling author, global sensation, Scarlett St. Clair.
Did you add that? Was global sensation your
I
app?
added that, yes, because it's true.
No, I appreciate it. I don't know. I don't think I would say that about myself, but I
I
love all the little hearts and clappies.
do
Like it was
too.
so
That's
cute.
really fun. I like that they added that. So I have to say, I love your background tonight. It is very
Oh,
here at the gates,
it,
and your
it's my
earrings.
bed.
Isn't it really? And your curtains, that's perfect.
Yeah, so it's a full wall of curtains because there's this tiny
Oh.
window behind my bed, and I was like, I can't just put curtains in a tiny window in a big bed, so I just filled the wall with curtains, and
I think that was a
yeah,
good
so
idea.
thanks.
Ah, all right.
I
So
don't know if you
here,
guys, I do want to address everyone saying they didn't get an email confirmation. You
yeah.
probably won't, but it doesn't mean you're not on the list. So don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Also, if something weird happens, like I'll just give you an email like on my Instagram to email and we'll get it figured out. So be calm.
I think
It'll be
the
great.
email confirmation was probably the one from Barnes and Noble saying that your book is shipped or sh
Yeah, yeah.
ordered and going to ship, and then from there you
But
have to fill out that
but probably not the Google form.
the Google
You're I'm
form.
sure
Yeah.
you're fine. So but if anything goes amiss, we
We'll get
will get
it.
it figured out.
Yeah.
Promise.
Okay, Scarlett, let's talk Terror at the Gates.
Okay.
Okay, so my first question, I think, for us going in should be, how did you come across the Lilith story? And like what drew you into it so much that like Terror at the Gates came to your mind?
Oh, I was afraid of Lilith in the beginning. I think like I can't remember an exact time because some of my friends like watch a lot of Supernatural, and I know they were probably introduced to Lilith because of Supernatural, but I was not a Supernatural girly. But my bonus mom was, but she also, as a goddess, like as Lilith, as the goddess archetype, really loves her. And I was always kind of afraid of her. And she was like, don't be afraid of her, like read about her.
Mm,
And so I started to read about her. And I think that's sort of the challenge that we all face in learning about something we don't understand is like there is fear around it because Lilith is like rooted in a lot of biblical mythology, and we've been taught that she's a demon and demons are bad. And if we had that sort of upbringing, which I did, and not like my mom was very religious and she taught the lessons of the Bible to me, but we didn't go to church. She went to church every Sunday, but I didn't. So I was kind of indoctrinated into this idea that like Lilith was bad and demons were bad. And then I started to actually learn about it and I was like, "Oh, I see. I could extrapolate like this is a story that we told to punish women for not obeying." And I think it was just very eye-opening to see that actually I think what she did was very admirable and not demonic in any sense of the word, but she was certainly demonized. And I think it was just very empowering for me to go on that journey. How it got to this final form, I don't know. I think, like you said earlier, I put a lot of the things in it that I love. And honestly, writing Tear at the Gates was such an adventure. I felt like I was in the world. Like, I lived in this world for months, y'all. Like, writing this world, I was just like, I am no longer on Earth. I am in Eden. And so it was just such a joy, despite the heavy themes. I think it was such a joy to write her and step into her, and I think I feel like a better feminist after.
I was gonna say there are so many feminist themes in this book, and I absolutely had the same kind of upbringing a little bit in that Lilith actually wasn't really talked about in my upbringing communities in the school I went to. But so when I heard of her and like that she was like a demoness and all this, I was like, oh, that's why I was never told about her because she was bad.
Yeah,
Um,
that's yeah. I don't expect a lot of people to actually know about Lilith, I think, but what I love to do, I think, with any of my books and why I try to write such extensive author's notes is I hope it's an education
Mhm.
on, who and what, and I try to be very fair on all sides of of the coin as a librarian, right? That's what
Yeah.
we're taught to do. But I think that's the beauty of reading something that you're not really familiar with. You learn more about it, and it changes your view of it changes your worldview. So, um, yeah, I think that's interesting though,
Yeah.
hiding a bit.
The hiding of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then in the book, I don't know if this was a specific like line of dialogue or if it was like Lilith's thoughts, but just the way that you set up the world as well, kind of pointing out how a woman's magic is like highly regarded, and yet it is sinful to use unless it's the men using it.
Yeah, it's a metaphor for to me it's a metaphor for uh, women and their ability to give birth, because I've talked about this, if you've if my readers have been with me for any length of time, a lot of this centered around Queen of Myth and Monsters. And I mean, you'll remember in Oklahoma when they overturned Roe versus Wade, and then they made abortion illegal. And I was just so angry because you literally just take autonomy away from women, and especially in circumstances where they didn't have a choice, they don't have choices. And it's just such an insult to women in society. Essentially, we wouldn't be here without women. And instead of seeing things like giving birth and our intuition as magic and very much you know, an advantage and a strength, we demonize those things. Um, so it made sense to me that going into this world, women with magic, and I think giving birth is a miracle. I have godchildren. I don't have children of my own, but I've watched my best friends do it. I think it's a miracle. I survived being born premature. I think birth is a miracle. Babies are a miracle. And I think a woman's innate ability to just know things that
Yeah.
that are chalked up to being emotional, that's magic. So it made sense to me that in this world, these women would have magic and they would be revered for those things in a sense, but also made to be silent. And they essentially funnels, like they're
Yeah.
siphons, is what they
Yeah.
are. And society siphons from women all the time.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like we could even, get in the discussion of
Let's
women
do it.
in the household,
Yeah.
where would like the society be? Where would our advances in technology be if women did not hold the brunt of work at the house?
I agree. And I think it's interesting. I did a lot of research because I knew there was going to be this backlash, not backlash, but I know a lot of people freeze up at the word feminism. And I just
Mhm.
have to say that if you do, you have to think about where you heard your definition from. And if it came from social media, you don't know what you don't know what
No.
feminism is. And I just think, I mean, we have a very short memory. And I think that we live in a time where we think, oh, like I have the right to vote. So, like, I don't have to think about feminism. And, oh, I have a bank account. So I don't have to think about feminism. But, women were only given the right to have a bank account. I think it was in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Someone, yeah. And that was not very long ago. And you know what happens with a bank account? It gives you freedom to maybe escape your abusive husband, for example. And those are examples of feminism that feminists had to fight for. And it's not male hating. I don't want to hate on men, like
No.
what. But I also think like what we're asking for are just equal rights as a human, because we are human. We are not lesser. And the hard part about that is religion, and it creates a structure where women are lesser than. They are subservient to their husbands. And a lot of women will participate without knowing or knowing, so they can have a longer leash, but you will still be
Mhm.
hung because that is how the society works. So yeah, I hope it's I hope it's empowering. I just feel like we have to be very aware of the reality of our situation, and um, we might live in a modern society, but there is a foundation of misogyny beneath us, and the only way that we're able to fight that is to be aware of it, right, and challenge it when we can.
Yes, I agree 1,000% with everything you just said. And I think you did a really beautiful job showcasing that in Terror at the Gates, inside a fantasy, inside a mafia romance fantasy.
I know. Isn't
And
that so
yeah,
funny? People think you can't say serious things while you write sex scenes.
yeah, but you totally can. I
Yeah.
feel like the whole book is a commentary on feminism and kind of like the religious and societal setup right now. Like, no, it's not a mirror, but it almost kind of is.
Yeah, I think, and in some ways, right, it was, in some ways, it felt very unintentional. I think these are themes that have been in my books for a really long
Yeah.
time, but I think this world lent itself to really bring those things forward. And I mean, it just worked out so well. I just loved everything about it. And I very much love writing metaphor. I love, I love like fill in the blank literary term.
Right.
I mean, it's part of my background, it's part of my degree. And I also love when I get to write the things that I love. And I happen to love sexual tension, writing sex scenes. I love,
Yeah.
I love banter. And then, I get to say the serious stuff. And I just thought it worked out so well. I love this world. I'm
I do
so,
too.
like over a year ago, I started talking about how I wanted to write a fantasy mafia. And like, this is it.
This is it. And she is gorgeous
I'm
and
so
she is
happy.
amazing. And I will go to the ends of the earth for it. Lilith. Oh my God.
Me
Oh
too.
so real quick for everyone, we're gonna take some question and or answers. We're gonna take some questions from you guys here in a little bit. So if you want to add a question into the Q&A,
Oh
um,
yeah, I forgot about that.
here. And then you can also like vote for questions. If there's one that you see that you absolutely love and want to have answered, make sure you vote for it so that I can see it at the very top. And we'll be sure to answer your questions here in a bit. But first, I have some more. So you wanted to write a mafia romance. Was there something that you wanted to explore in that, or did you just like kind of want to have fun with like the aesthetics and the vibes, which I love the descriptions in this book about this world. They're just so like they were so vivid and I could see it like a movie in my head, like Sin City. Like I saw those dark colors and the vibrant like neon here and there. Like it was so
Yeah,
amazing.
I'm so glad. I've seen people say that a lot, and I just do. You know how you do this when you're a writer? You're like, well, I hope this comes off like I
Yeah.
hope this is how you like. You
It
just
makes sense in my head. I
yeah,
don't
you
know.
write something down, and you're like, God, please, like, see this how I see it. Um, I think so. I like mafia romance. I think the actual mafia is very scary. I didn't read all of a I picked up a book about mafias because I was really curious about how they formed and how they continued. How do they retain power? I didn't read the whole thing, but I just found it interesting that a big part of that was, it started on islands and they would be like raided, and these people would say like, "Okay, I'll protect you, but it will come at a price." So they were like, "Yeah, we'll protect our people, but we're also charge them for it." But people paid, to be safe, and I thought that was very interesting, and I just liked the yeah, I think the concept of like mafia romance being dark, being kind of like mysterious, but also like these people who can really like mess with your lives. Like that sounds like our government. And I'm like, okay, like this will be interesting. But I wanted it in a fantasy setting. I think I really vibe with Lilith. this book is more of me than any of my previous books, and I just think it's because of how I've changed as a person.
Hmm.
I was in France earlier this year, and a reader, I said something about Taylor Swift, and she said, "Oh my God, are you a Swiftie?" And I I said, "No, look at me." And but it's not that I don't like Taylor Swift, but I mean, I listen to rock, like, Bad Omens, Sleep Tokens, more my vibe. And that's what this book is, though, is just like my indie rock album, but it's a novel. So yeah, it's all of my aesthetic and like
It is.
this in one book. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at your bedroom.
I know. Yeah, my very vampiric bedroom.
Yes. But I love that. Absolutely. So, okay. Um, I
I'm
have
just
like
loving
a
this
fun,
chat over here. It's
I know
hilarious.
it is like going off. I love it. Okay, so you
Thank
have,
you guys.
like you said, this is like the most you book.
Hmm.
Um, and you love this world, but you have like 13 books or something, 15 books. You have a lot of
13?
books.
Yeah, I do.
Um,
13. I
and
counted
then they
today.
did you? Oh, awesome. Well, it makes sense on your book birthday eve to know what number you're at. But all of it, so you have like five or so worlds across all of these books. Which one is your favorite? I think you've already answered that. But second question, which if you had to live in one of them, which one would you live in?
Oh, I live in New Greece. It's safe. At least I
Sounds like a
have
little
a
bit
chance.
more fun, unless you're like really gunning for like some
Yeah, I mean, unless you're like trying to cheat death, like you can chill in New Greece, like for sure. But Cordova is terrible. Eden is terrible. Like if I was going to pick, I would say, and especially women in New Greece have far more autonomy
Oh yeah.
than the women in either Cordova or Eden. So yeah, not hard.
Okay, maybe also not a very hard question, or maybe it is. Who out of all of your characters is your favorite? I know that's like
That
pick your favorite
sucks.
child, but
That sucks so bad. Oh, I love
okay,
how
could
people
you
are
rank
answering
them?
Hades. But Hugo,
Hades.
have you
Mm.
met Zahari?
Happy.
Yeah, yeah, Hermes is great too. Like it's so hard. Um, I love them all for different reasons, and I think they all got me through like various parts of my life, and when some were very hard, some very hard parts of my life. But I don't know. I think right now in this moment, I resonate most with Lilith because I feel like I just identify so much with her rage and her fear too. She has I think we're all in a situation where we sort of feel like we may lose autonomy and we may lose our freedom. And we've most of us in America especially have not lived without rights. Well, we haven't lived without freedom. So we don't really know what it's like to not be
Yeah.
free. But we can imagine it, and it doesn't sound good. So I think like that's probably why like I would say Lilith right now. Um, and they all have similar echoes, like Persephone, Isolde, and Lilith have all grieved, and I
Yeah.
relate to that really, really hard. I love Zahariv because he's like Hephaestus. If you guys all love Hades. I see you over there. I see you. He is like Hephaestus. Hephaestus is so devoted to Aphrodite.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter if like they're playing at their relationship or they are separated or it doesn't matter. He's going to be there. If she calls, he will come. And that's who Zahariv reminded me of. And I just love that devotion. We won't even like let's not even talk about like true love or soulmates. Like let's like talk about devotion.
Oh my
I
gosh.
love that.
Yes. Devotion is my catnip. That is what. Yeah. That's what gets me in the male characters, and that is why I did love Zahari a lot because I could see it from like the
The
his
first page,
yes. I was like,
first
oh, this
chapter.
man, oh, this man. And I loved how you I don't, did this book differently in that it's not just Lilith's point of view, but it's also not a direct like 50% Lilith, 50% Zahari point of view switches, but he's in there and just the amount that you give. It's like
Just,
it's
yeah.
perfect though. That's all. I was just like, yeah. By like
I
his
don't even
standard point of view,
know.
like I fucking love you. Sorry.
No, I mean, listen, I didn't ask if we could cuss, but I do anyway. So I think, well, Barnes and Noble's known me long enough. You can bleep me if you want, if you want. Um, I so Zahari, I loved his point of view, and he came to me like that. Those little snippets, there was nothing else. Like it was so interesting, and I started to worry as I wrote the book. Like, will I have something to say at the end of every chapter? He did, except that it wasn't a lot. And but it was just enough. And I was thinking like, oh, when I go to write the second one, like, will it be the same? And I think it will. I almost added and at the end of one I almost added like a little like text exchange. It wasn't really an exchange. I was just going to add Gabriel's text messages to Lilith, and I was like, I think I have to keep with Zahari, but it was enough. And I did start writing his point of view of the dance scene, which is chapter 4 for those of you who haven't read it. And it is so wild. I was like, Z, how long have you had these thoughts?
A long time is what I'm
Yeah.
guessing from his. And
Yeah,
I
well,
think
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
I think so. She came to Edith, or she came to Nineveh 2 years prior to where we're at in the book. And I think at that point he was like, why do I like this girl? I've known her my whole life. Like, why do I have this is stupid. Like, why would I have these feelings for her? And then
yeah,
as she just gets in trouble over time, he's like, fuck. I
yeah,
just love it.
yeah. And I think his little snippets show that, even though
Yeah,
they're small. And it goes with his character. He is a man of few words, but the words he
I
says
know.
like have impact, have meaning. Ugh,
Yeah,
it's so good. So
I
good.
loved him.
Also gonna say the audiobook narrators killed it. Perfect
I picked
perfection.
Laura a long time ago. I met her in Oklahoma, at Romance
Oh, I
Lahoma,
didn't know.
which Alysha and I will be at next month. So if you want to meet us or have us sign our books, will you have books by? Yeah, you will have books by then, won't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
My publisher is letting us sell them early just for the event soon.
Yes. Okay. So, and it'll probably be through Best of Books, right?
It
Which,
will be through
yeah,
our
yeah,
local
okay.
indie.
That's what I thought. Okay. But I'm so excited. So if you guys like are near us,
Yeah.
come to that event. Anyways, I picked Laura a long time ago, and I reached out to her just to be like, hey, I want to put you forward for this audiobook. And she was like, yeah, I would love to do it. And luckily she was available. And then I asked her for recommendations on the male point of and it's Tristan Warden. She had given me two other names. They weren't available, but Tristan is just as phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
It was gorgeous.
yeah,
Gorgeous.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
it worked out really well.
It really did. It came together. That audiobook is one of my favorites to listen
I'm
to.
so
They're both
glad.
so beautiful. Okay, I have one last question before I jump into the Q&A. And just a reminder, is the Q&A not the chat where you need to put your question? We have a couple so far, and we've got some people voting, so that's wonderful. We've
Oh,
got a
cool.
great amount. I think we've got like 12 right now. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
just like one question. So this isn't a spoiler because it's in the art that you've already like um announced or released. There's a little cute little cat that comes into Lilith's life. Um,
Tara.
are you a cat person? Because we know
No.
you're a dog person with Addie. And so when I saw this cat in there and like how much Lilith and this cat bond, and I love it. I love the art that you made with her in the like baby sling. Uh,
Yeah, oh, I had
yeah.
to because, like, first of all, you need a visual for that. But um, I am not a cat person. I have a cat, but I'm totally a dog person. My cat is a demon incarnate. Like, I wish
The
her name is
opposite.
Nefertiti. Yeah, her name is Nefertiti. I should have named her Demon. It was a missed opportunity. But a cat really fit with Lilith. Lilith, when I worked for the library, we all like were picking animals for ourselves. And or we took this quiz and I got like a cat and I was like, I am not a cat. And they were like, you're totally a cat. And so I was like, okay, I do think I have a cat tendencies and Lilith does too. So it just made sense that she would have this cat. This cat, though, is not like a normal cat. No normal cat would sit in that sling that she puts Cherub in for that long. But I'm really excited to see sort of how Cherub evolves and like what role she takes in
Yeah.
the future because she has to. Like she is a familiar. And as this book evolves, it became more supernatural, and that's what I think so cool about it. Because in the beginning, you're like, is does this what is this? Like, yeah, there's magic, but like what kind? And then it got really funky. Like the magic to me is like really campy, but I love it. Like the demons in the book are really
Yes.
campy. So I think like I'm kind of hoping that Cherub's role becomes kind of campy. Like
Yes.
I don't know,
I
like
love
because
that.
she did have a little bit of a role helping her like get into an area in the book, and so I hope she does more things like that.
I do too. I do too. I'm
We'll
so
see.
excited to read book two.
I'm excited to write it, but I
Yes.
haven't started anything because I can't
That's
focus.
fair. I think you are allowed to like take a break and enjoy your book birthday tomorrow and release and all that and like celebrate and share the book out in the world.
Yeah,
Um, I'm totally like that is what I'm down for every author of like you do not have to like immediately get back to work the second that you're done with the first book because you need to celebrate what you've done and
yeah,
also share the excitement like with all the readers.
I agree. I think I spent a long time like being like, oh, I got to move on to the next thing. And when you come from indie, you train yourself almost to do that, to just go like publish a book, go to the next, publish a book, go to the next. But when you're indie, the difference is that you don't do these things as much. Like, you don't travel a lot. You don't,
Right.
so that it was easier to do, but now that I have like the marketing side and the publicity side, it's harder to do.
You got to go all over the world as the global sensation.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking domestically, but that's fair.
Okay, I think it's time for us to jump into some of our audience questions. Ooh, got one that had 14 votes. That's awesome.
Oh, damn.
Okay, where? I know, right? Uh, let's see. It says answer live. I wonder if I can click that. We'll see what it does.
Oh, holding
Okay.
my breath.
Where do you start your writing process? Plot or theme or fleshing out characters?
Characters for sure. It's all based on what they're saying, and then I just ask them questions until the world develops around them. So, yeah, I love that because I don't know how I don't know any other way to do it. What do you do?
Um, for Her Soul for a Crown, the premise was there already. So like, because she's a historical character. Um,
Which
so
you talked about for a really long time.
yeah. Yeah, so she came with her like the one, line she had in the history books was that she'd poisoned six kings to get to the throne. And I was like, well, wait, why and how? And like, what if she did it for a good reason?
And the context of this, y'all, is this is a Sri Lankan. She's a queen. a Sri Lanka, and you found this one line about her, and this
Yeah.
is Alicia's heritage. So she was
Yeah.
very like interested in this story, and so she just pulled that out and wrote a whole book about it,
Yes. Yes, I
which
did.
is
And
really
I
cool.
added in some Sri Lankan mythology as well because I was like, we could have bad Rajas ruling, but also like, what about the demons?
Yeah, it's great. You guys should pre-order it now.
Yeah, and then the hard part is figuring out the plot. And then because you're just like, I
Yeah,
have these awesome characters in this cool world. What's the plot?
I think I like well, I knew because I think people get confused with romance. They think plot is something that it's not, but all a plot is a series of actions. And in romance, it's the actions you take to falling in love. In fantasy, plot probably looks more like action. And I that was sort of the challenge here is like I was trying to balance two things at once. Um, but I did, I mean, I called you a lot to be like, I just need to talk this out because I hit a wall. And I think every time I hit a wall, it would be because I didn't have she didn't have the agency. And I was like, she's always going to come up with a plan. She's not going to fall into something. So every time I hit a wall, it was because I got her character. I like slipped out of her character, I think. And I had to go back and remind myself who she was. So that it was an interesting process to go through. I'm sure you were like, here we go again. No, I know you
No,
loved
it
it.
was
I really
great.
appreciate you being there to hear me out.
I enjoyed being the sounding board because I am also always calling someone and being like, help me.
I just needed to be out of my head. I was like,
Yeah.
I've been in this world too long.
Yes.
I would have died by now.
Okay, next question. What are either of you currently reading? Any recommendations? Ooh,
Now I'm like, what am I reading?
I just finished the audiobook of Terror at the Gates and I
Oh,
super recommend it
was
after
it
reading.
good?
Yeah, the audiobook was amazing. So after reading your like physical copy and loving all like, oh, I'm so excited to get my copy to see the art inside the art pages.
Oh,
But then go back
yeah,
and like listen to the audiobook because it is so well done.
I love this. It's so I can just fangirl for a little bit because Lila did the art for the interior
Oh, I love that.
pages and I adore her so much. Um I am prepping to read The Curse That Binds by Laura Thalassa, who I absolutely adore. So I've been reading Bewitched. So if you haven't read that, you should definitely check it out because it's so good. I love her.
I'm gonna have to put that on my TBR.
Yeah, she's good. She's so good. I love her.
Okay, next question. Do you have a playlist for this book?
I do. It's on my Spotify, y'all, which you you probably already follow, but it's wait, what is it? TATG. I don't call it
JTG.
TATG. I just call it terror. But
Yeah.
on the because I tried to keep it where like people would know what it was, but it's a good playlist. Just check it
Yeah.
out.
Do we have some rock music on there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think like this was that's the one thing that helps me like immerse myself in the vibe of a world is a good playlist. And all
Yeah.
my books have playlists, even the fairy tales. The fairy like let me tell you, the weirdest playlists I've made are the ones for the fairy tales and the ones for Adrian and Isolde. Those have some really weird songs.
And I'm gonna have to go look at those. My favorite playlist is for a book that no one has read except for like a couple of writing buddies. But it's like a bunch of 1950s and 60s like romancy, swoony songs, and I absolutely love it. And it just makes me so happy every time I listen to it.
Is this for one of your middle grades or one of
No,
your
this was for
Oh,
so while Her Soul for a Crown was on submission to editors before it got picked up, I just wrote a story for myself that was a very raunchy romance a contemporary raunchy romance.
We love it.
With a little bit of fantasy, there's like a library that she finds where you can actually step into books and romance the main character.
Oh, okay. That sounds so cool. It kind of sounds magical realism.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I've read one magical real, no, a couple, because I read some magical realism in college, but the one I read out of college it was Bone Gap, and that was a trip. I loved
Oh,
it,
that
but
is. That is.
yeah, but I was like, where are we? We were
Yeah.
running in a cornfield, and now we're not.
What is real?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that this next question has so many upvotes on it. Um, People would like to know where your earrings are from.
Oh, um,
I would also like to know.
I think it's called fittingly Virgins, Saints, and Angels.
But
Um,
oh, that's amazing.
yeah, I think yeah, VSA is what they call it on but I had to get them because y'all like they're so
You're perfect.
perfect for my for my book.
They're so
And I say
perfect.
I'm in my red era because I've done like my red nails and the red lip and I'm like so it's definitely an era of my life. But yeah,
Yeah.
Virgin Saints and Angels. I have like envied their jewelry for years. And so I was like I have to have these.
Get them. I'm so
So
glad you did. They're so perfect. And
thanks.
like they're the right length on you too. I love that.
Well, sometimes I feel like it's a lot because, but and
It's
sometimes
meant to
I
be a
try
lot.
to wear earrings on like when I did the news like last year for Chaos, I think, or I don't know, it might not have been that book. But you can't wear earrings when they put a mic on you. It's kind of annoying.
What? Oh, because they like jangle
It
or
hits.
something?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that is annoying.
Sad
I've
day.
never noticed that, that the
Yeah,
women on TV are not wearing earrings. Not that I watch the news that much.
I don't I only like know that because
Because they
I
were
have to
like,
take
take your
mine
earrings
out.
out.
Yeah, yeah. FYI, y'all.
Okay. I know the answer to this question because I read your newsletter recently. The question
Oh.
is, what other projects are you currently working on? I think a lot of people know the answer to this because we have a few series that were that are still
Oh,
open.
I know. God, I know. It's still, I still have to talk to my editor, but I think I will have to pivot and work on Terra 2, because I know I have a huge gap between Queen of Myth and Monsters and Kingdom of Spirit and Shadow. But if I pause to work on that, then we'll have a very long gap between Terror and the second book. Um, and part of the issue with it, as you guys, some of you know, is that I came from indie, and so I never got to a point where my like Alysha's book has been written for a long time, and and so in the time that she's written that book and it's going to publication, she's probably written like I don't know how many books you've written. Two, three?
One that is not contracted, the one I just told you about, and then one that
Yeah.
we are finalizing things now for what will come out in 2026.
Yeah, and I never got there. So I everything I write, you guys like I have written in real time.
Yeah,
So
which
Terror I finished
blows my
for.
mind.
Yeah, I have to get ahead of I gotta get ahead of my schedule basically. But yeah, Terror was written 4 months ago, was finished 4 months ago. And so yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to be better.
Not be better. You are amazing. It's more of the timing of, I guess, releasing the whole series,
yeah, I
starting another
really
series.
well, and I did. I sank back into Adrian and Isolde because I really want to edit QMM, Queen of Monsters, before I go into Born a Flame and KSS. And I may be able to get Born a Flame out and then move back to Terror and then do Born a Flame. Basically, I just, and then I have the fairy tales too. And so basically, I just made a mess for myself. And the only thing that can get me out of it is time.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I do appreciate everyone's patience with
Yeah,
me.
I think you have a wonderful group of fans and readers that are like they love your work, and so they're also gracious. And
They
as
really
hard as
are.
this
It's
is,
so
we will
true.
wait patiently for them.
It's my guilt. The guilt
Yeah, I
gnaws at me
know.
every day. Like
The
every
guilt,
time I
the author
think of
guilt.
it, I sort of freeze. And then I'm just like, and a big part of it, I think, was like I lost my dad and my brother, two, I don't know how many years apart, 4 years apart, maybe. And I think I just was like, I wanted to do anything to sort of distract myself and do the fun things. And but honestly, it doesn't feel like that long ago that I wrote QMM. I know it's been like 2 years, but it really doesn't feel like that long ago that I finished QMM. I wrote Mountains, I wrote Chaos,
Yeah.
so I have been working
Yes.
nonstop. That's what's wild to me is like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Time
what have
means
I
nothing.
done with you? Like, I
I
just don't,
will
but I
say
I do
there are
love it.
good. That's the main part. And that I think is how what we feel in your books, is your passion and your love for the book that you have just written. Like we can tell that you're not forcing it.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
I get that. And also I've also
I'm
like one
glad.
of my other like favorite authors has gone like 5 or more years between books in a series and like the fandom's still there. And
I my worry was like, is this like, will people just like give up on it, Because
right, we don't
you
want
do,
that.
yeah, well, you do see people talk about it like online where they're like, I won't start a series unless it's finished. And I get it
Right?
because
Which is
I also have reading anxiety, like I do too, but yeah, I do love Adrian Isolde, and I know like I recently read a book that really like heavily. I mean, I feel like I'd read it before because so many elements from what I had already written in Adrian Isolde clicked, and I was like, oh, I know how this Kingdom of Spirit and Shadow will unfold, and I'm really excited about it. I think that I would not have been able to write the story that KSS needs to be without having written Terror at the Gates. I just think I needed that clarity. So I think it will be better for sure.
Oh, that's
There's
awesome.
hope.
There is hope. There's always hope. We
There's
just
always
now,
hope.
I think the answer to that question is she's got a lot and she's
I'm
prioritizing.
working on it.
Well, we are coming up to the end of our event. I can't believe an
It
hour
went so
really going
fast.
by. Yeah, so
I
we
know.
might do some rapid fire if there's like I'm going through the questions real quick to see if we can grab something. What's your favorite part of the
I
writing
know.
process?
Well,
Since you
I'm
have to
so
do
funny.
it in such short amounts of time.
It's like it's hard to say. It's these little bursts of like fun, like little scenes that I revisit them. But I feel like it's like the funnest part for me is like writing like highly charged fun scenes, and those are typically the scenes that I hear at the start. Like when the characters start talking, those are those highly charged scenes. That's my favorite part. Putting it together sucks ass, and I can't. It's like I love it, but I'm also like, as a writer, I'm like, God, I hate the writing part, but I don't.
It's
I just want
hard.
to. I just want to know what it's going to be in the end, and I think when you get to this, you're like, all the suffering was worth it.
Yeah.
But to get here, like this is my favorite part. Seeing it like this seeing it become a real book, a
Mhm.
thing that was just, like all of this was in my head. I'm like, what?
In January.
Um, yeah, and I think that's probably my favorite part is
Yeah.
I no longer have the 13-year-old Scarlet mind where I just uh when you are like ignorance is bliss and you're just like so happy and free and writing whatever the fuck you feel like and you don't care if it's good because you don't know any better. I'm not
Yeah.
like that anymore. And this was like every sentence had to be perfect before I moved on from it. The prophecies, I would have to pause and like start fresh and write them in a separate Word document because I needed clarity. So, and I loved it, but it was also rough. So, but worth
Yeah.
it. So
Totally
worth
worth
it.
it. And you absolutely nailed it. This is one of
Thank
my
you.
favorite reads ever,
Thank you.
honestly. And I'm
I'm
like,
so
oh my
proud of
God,
this book. Like
I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy that you're proud of it.
I right. It sounds like I love my readers too, because even they're like, "Oh my God, Scarlett's proud of her book," and I was like, "Have I
Yeah.
not been proud of other books?" Like, I'm like literally having a crisis in my head. But I think they know how hard Chaos was for me to write, and it was so hard. Like Chaos was such a hard book, and but I think that is what happens when you're wrapping up a giant series,
Oh yeah.
and also the pressure to make it the perfect book for my readers was just such a it was it was a task that I felt like every
Mhm.
day. I'm happy that I had that support from my readers. But it did make it was just hard. But this was so fucking fun, and I'm so proud of it. And I really hope that you all love it because I poured so much of me into it, and I don't think I could have done a better job.
I honestly don't think so either. And I will say by like chapter 2 or 3, I had texted our mutual friend Lexi and I was like, this is like the best of Scarlet, which I
Let's
didn't
see.
think I like, as you said with Chaos, like that one was, oh, so good. It was so satisfying. And I didn't think that like you could get more you, but you did. And then I
That's
was like,
fair.
oh my God, this is like her soul on the page.
It really is. It is my favorite book I've ever written. And I will say, like at the end, I want you all to just pause for a moment and really think about where I led you, okay? Um, yeah, I'm so excited for tomorrow. If you guys do wander into Barnes and Noble, I would be so grateful if you would take a picture and tag me. And if you can tag the Barnes and Noble store, please do. I would love to see it in stores. I'm just so grateful for the support. And did you know this, Alicia? Do you know this, readers? Barnes and Noble put my books on the shelf when I was still indie, which was
Yeah,
completely unheard of.
yeah.
And they're a big reason why I have a publisher at all. And I am forever grateful that such a a giant like bookseller would pay attention to me at all. And it's just such an honor to be supported by them and by my readers. And I think it's just such a powerful thing. So I'm very grateful to have this chance to be here tonight. And yeah, I'm
I
debating on if I'm
remember
gonna
going.
stay up. Oh, did you? Wait,
I remember
did you?
going to the Barnes and Noble on like May here
Yeah,
for
that's where
one of
I
your
went.
signings, and it was so cool. And the line was like all the way to the back already, and I was like, my husband had come with me, and he didn't really know. Like
Oh,
the fandom had
listen.
already started at that point, and I was like,
Yeah.
"We have to get there early," and he's like, "Why?" And so when we walked in, I was like, "That's
Why?
why."
My friends would come to my signings early on, and with no idea that I had a reader's.
Yeah.
This is how quiet I am about my author life to my friends. Alysha knew, but none of my other friends did, and they had to at the line. I think they thought they were just gonna walk up to my table when they got
Mhm.
there.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so it's kind of satisfying when that happens.
It is. Yeah. Oh, I love that that you brought this up with Barnes& Noble because this does feel like so full circle of like
It does feel
them
full
being so
circle,
supportive
doesn't it?
and they're the ones hosting for this release and the book event or the book birthday eve. It's
I
so
know. I know. I'm just so grateful. I had to say that because I know I have a lot of new readers and they may not know where I came, like my roots.
yeah.
But my roots really began with Barnes and Noble putting me in stores. That was such a big deal, and it didn't happen at that point. And so I just also want to say like thanks for taking a chance on me. So I hope it was worth it.
Thank you. At least for all of us readers, it has been.
Right. Right.
Okay, well, I think we are at our wrap up time. So I'm going to just remind everyone again that you will be getting your books, your signed copies in 8 to 10 business days. And if you haven't filled out that Google form and you want the PIN, make sure you do that. And let's see, we had one more. Oh, yeah. If you are new, and even if you're not new and just want more of Scarlett's books, they are available on Barnes& Noble website and in stores 24/7. Like we mentioned, you have 15 other books. You have quite the backlist. So while you wait for Terra at the Gates 2, we have plenty to read or reread as buddy readers. Oh my gosh, that'd be really fun to do. Which
Yeah.
you've done before, but
I have done before, yeah. I love doing that. We'll have to do that for Terror. But yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you all so much for
thank you
being
for
here. I'm so
coming.
grateful. I didn't expect there to be 92 of you. So
I know
it's such a cool thing.
that is amazing. Yeah, the most amount. Big event
All
for
right. Well, I will see you
listeners.
guys on the Instagram tomorrow. I will be posting a lot. I will be looking through like my tags and sharing pictures and reading all your comments. So, and Lexi, Alicia did mention Lexi. She does run my socials, but I also like I'm always in there. I'm always responding. I respond to everyone, so it is me. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And thank you, Alicia. I love you. I'm gonna see you tomorrow, I think. So,
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you a virtual
all right.
hug.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Good
Thank you,
night,
Barnes&
y'all.
Noble.